Welcome to the 19th century, a time of bloody wars and dramatic reforms for the Ottoman Empire. After the assassination of Selim III and Mustafa IV, Mahmud II had to act quickly to retain his power. National uprisings in the Balkans, the Greek War of Independence, and the intense Crimean War put immense pressure on the empire. Mahmud II learned from the mistakes of his predecessors, appointing allies to key positions to strengthen his grip on the realm. It was a period full of intrigue, treacherous alliances, and constant threats. But the challenges didn't stop there. How would the Ottoman Empire respond to the next major crisis? Stay tuned, because this turbulent time will keep you on the edge of your seat. In the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire slowly lost its power over Europe. At the beginning of the century, nearly half of the empire was still European. But by the end, this had shrunk to just 20%. The ideals of the French Revolution, liberty, equality, and fraternity, gave the oppressed peoples in the Balkans hope and courage to fight against their rulers. For many Christian peasants in the Balkans, however, religion mattered more than national identity. Their faith united them, and as the central Ottoman power weakened, an explosive situation emerged. The First Serbian Uprising, 1804 to 1812, was a cry for justice and the restoration of order, driven by discontent over corruption and the atrocities committed by soldiers and officials. The rebellion was a struggle full of danger, bravery, and determination. Despite the harsh Turkish response in 1813, the dream of freedom endured and led to the Second Serbian Uprising in 1815. This second attempt finally brought a form of freedom for Serbia, which continued to expand until it achieved full independence in 1878. Picture this. It's 1821, and the hills around Thessaloniki are a hotbed of tension and rebellion. Greek armatoloi, once hired bounty hunters by the Sultan, have joined forces with the Klefs, the notorious mountain bandits. Their goal? Freedom and a better future, regardless of their differences. Though the Greek identity was still vague, their desire for liberation was crystal clear. The uprising spread like wildfire, and by 1824, the Greeks held much of the mainland and several islands. But the price was steep. Massacres ravaged both Christian and Muslim communities. The massacre at Chios, where 45,000 Christians were either slaughtered or enslaved, became a shocking turning point in the war. The Sultan called for the help of Muhammad Ali, the governor of Egypt, and in 1825, his son, Ibrahim Pasha, landed on the Peloponnese. He conquered almost all of Greece with an iron fist. When it seemed that all hope was lost, the United Kingdom, France and Russia intervened, and eventually the Treaty of Adrianople in 1829 forced the Sultan to recognize Greek independence. It was a victory, though the country was much smaller than its current borders. Muhammad Ali was furious. He had demanded Syria as a reward for his efforts, but was given only restless Crete. It felt like a dagger in the back of his ambitions. In 1831, he sent his son, the brave Ibrahim Pasha, with a mighty army to Jaffa. They swept through the coastal regions of Lebanon and Palestine, capturing Damascus in 1832. City after city fell while the Ottoman army could do nothing to stop them. The Egyptian army was on the verge of marching into Istanbul, and the panic in the palace was palpable. Mahmud II, in desperation, begged Russia for help, and Tsar Nicholas I immediately sent thousands of troops. Faced with this immense power, Ibrahim chose negotiation over bloodshed. In the Convention of Kütahya in 1833, Muhammad Ali got what he wanted: control over Syria and Adana, though the threat of the Russians loomed like a dark cloud over the empire. In 1839, the Ottoman Empire tried to retake Syria, but suffered heavy defeats again. When the entire Ottoman fleet defected to Muhammad Ali, it seemed all was lost. Only after enormous pressure from Britain was an agreement reached. Muhammad Ali gave up claims to Syria in Crete, but gained hereditary governorship of Egypt and Sudan. After 1812, Mahmud II worked on a bold reform of the empire. He decided that the Janissaries, once the pride of the Ottoman army, had become a threat due to their corruption and power. In 1826, he seized his chance. When the Janissaries revolted, Mahmud had his artillery ready. With cannon fire, the uprising was crushed, and the Janissary Corps was officially abolished. But Mahmud knew his work wasn't done. He limited the power of religious leaders and brought charitable institutions under state control, a daring move long overdue. He reformed the tax system and conducted a census. From 1830 onwards, he focused on reforming the central bureaucracy, creating new ministries. His determination to modernize the empire brought many risks, but also renewed hope for the future. The death of Mahmud II in 1839 did not mark the end of the reforms. The new sultans Abdulmajid and Abdulaziz took up the torch and continued the policies. In 1839, the Gulhan-Hat-e-Sharif was proclaimed, introducing equality for all subjects and conscription. The establishment of a state bank and the introduction of the first banknotes caused much turmoil and resistance, but also showed a will to move forward. Education and criminal law were reformed, and the clergy's power was curtailed. In Bosnia, however, the Muslim elite refused to accept the new taxes, leading to violent conflicts. Resistance to the Tanzimat reforms was significant, especially due to the formal equality of all subjects, which undermined the traditional power hierarchy. These reforms brought both hope and intense anger, and the struggle between modernization and tradition deeply divided the empire. The Crimean War began in 1853 when Russia demanded the right to protect Orthodox residents of the Ottoman Empire. Istanbul refused and gained support from France and Britain, who did not want Russia to gain more power. In March 1854, the French and British declared war on Russia. It was a bloody conflict full of heroic battles and intense clashes, with cities engulfed in flames and seas filled with warships. After 2 years of fierce fighting, the war ended in 1856 with the Treaty of Paris. Russia was forced to dismantle its Black Sea fleet and lost much of its influence. For a moment, the Ottoman Empire seemed saved, and the European powers promised to protect the independence and integrity of the empire. The 19th century was a time full of tension, struggle, and dramatic change. From Mahmud II's bold reforms and the bloody wars of independence in the Balkans, to the entanglements of the Crimean War and the revolutionary Tanzimat period, the Ottoman Empire never stood still. But what comes next might be the most dramatic chapter yet. The crisis of 1875 to 1878 brought the empire to the brink of collapse once more. The demographic consequences were enormous, and tensions ran high. How would the empire respond to these new challenges? What unexpected alliances would form? And which leaders would rise to guide their people through these difficult times? Stay tuned, because the next video in this exciting series reveals the shocking events and the unexpected twists of the crisis of 1875 to 1878. The future of the Ottoman Empire hangs by a thread. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories from history.